What's going on, YouTube? So I wanted to make a video which most of us probably aren't in anyway, but I want to talk about jail and why jail sucks. I've been in there before, but only for a limited time, not a long time. And it actually was I understand everything's an experience, and I base my whole life off of it. But I was only in there for like basically 3 days. I had used my money to bail myself out. Someone did it for me, obviously, and it was a petty charge anyway. But while I was in there, what they were doing in there was ridiculous, doing with all the people. And then the people that were there were freaking me and this other dude, which I don't know. Most of the people down there, to think of it, primarily were black, African American, for sure. There definitely wasn't really any Mexicans or Asians, anything like that. And all of them were petty charges. It was like a roundup. We don't need to get into too much of that. But there was a super funny dude when I went in there, and he was actually white, but I guess he goes in there all the time, and he smuggled some drugs in there. And at one point during it, he was just so funny. He was just making jokes on everyone. It was just hilarious. No one really had shit to say. It was just hilarious too. If I had to put it in perspective, he knew he was going there and he said he was there so many times. It was just ridiculous. So obviously he was accustomed and knew what was going on. And if I had to compare him to someone, he'd be like a white Cat Williams. It was just so funny. But anyways, at one point, since I'll finish the story with him, he did have weed, but he said he wanted to smoke it because there were so many people. But I seen him, like, at one point he was by the snacking machine, and he was like, I don't know, he was drinking something, and I thought like, oh well, I thought he was drinking liquor because like the liquid didn't match the bottle at all. And I was like, give me some of that. And he did. I mean, I didn't like threat him or any way, but like I just said, hey, can I have some of that? Because I knew there was something in there. And this was when I was like 18 almost, so a couple years back. But he gave me it, and like I toted it up, I put it in, and a drop hit my mouth, literally a drop. And of course I thought it was like alcohol. And like as soon as I literally only had a drop, and I brought it back down, and I felt it instantly. It was fucking instant, like instant. And then like I freaking knocked back like another couple drops. And from here forward, like it was just, everything was super funny. And we started making fun of people and just joking around, and with each other too, me and this guy. And like they were trying to give us these bologna sandwiches, of course, again, and fucking I couldn't even eat the sandwich because of the way I was feeling. And yeah, so I wanted to talk about why prisons are shit and hell for anybody. I guess that was the introduction to where I'm going now. They first of all, foremost, they're of course you're not free. You're definitely getting some lack of sunlight, the pollution in there, the whole environment, and just overall being confined. No one wants to do that, and that's not natural at all for that extent of time. Then being around a bunch of other people you don't know. Also, again, lack of just being exposed to sunlight and being outside. That's hell. I mean, this is cruel treatment to anybody who does anything. There should be different ways, and I haven't really thought about it, but There definitely should be different ways about this and approach this. Also, the food in there is hell in a imprisonment, let alone people eat shit all the time. But it's different when you feed people, don't really have a choice and they're eating shit. So that food's degrading and probably as bad as the prison itself. Both of those, I mean, it's probably worse at the end of the day. But the environmental stress and being conceived or, you know, conceited, confined, whatever you want to say, in the prison walls are the worst. And again, lack of sunlight. Of course, some probably, you know, you get some sunlight or whatever, but it's pretty much pure hell for anybody in there, and this is messed up. I understand there's different degrees of people doing activities and variations, you know, between someone who's sold a drug as like weed compared to someone as that murdered somebody. There's different degrees, but there's definitely different ways to approach this, and how we're treating them just makes them go mental, especially when you feed them that food. Whether we took the environment aspect out of the picture, you're still feeding them garbage. So when you feed people garbage, they're going to come out insane anyway. I mean, the likelihood of someone to change, it's possible, but still. And then they're going to be indoctrined to that way of living and circumstances, and when they get out, they're most likely to repeat what's going to go on. And, you know, again, feeding them that diet's probably the most critical thing and important, because it's not going to help anybody. It's just going to make them worse off at the end of the day. You know, people say, yeah, I mean, I don't know, like you being in jail and people realize maybe they made a mistake, depending whether you're in there for a little bit, a long time, forever. Of course, when you're forever, you're fucked. There's no way around that. Unless there's always the option of breaking out. Don't lose that. You should always have faith of something like that, whether you think it's possible or not, because if you think it's not possible, then it's never going to happen at all. So you always got to keep the possibility, faith, and hope, you know. And yeah, you can deal with the situation, but the situation absolutely fucking sucks at the end of the day, especially when they're feeding you garbage. And you might have some say of what you eat, but for the most part, no, it's garbage. And then just confining someone in there and containing them. And, you know, I can't really speak for someone who's doing life or bigger crimes, degrees, or whatever, but the way a lot of crimes are rated is ridiculous. And two, you know, a lot of people go in there for minor charges and have, so, you know, you're losing health, and that's time and energy, and that's the most thing. Also, like I said, the time and energy, and then they make you, when you get out, you know, you're likely to go on some type of probation. If not, you have a bunch of fines, and it's just ridiculous. I mean, this is all critical. I just wanted to make a video why prisons or jails, penitentiaries, whatever, they're horrible. Lighting's changing like crazy. They're horrible for your health. Whether, you know, like, I'm not saying these dudes deserve luxury, but making them worse off, which it's evident and predominantly going to happen, no question. When you let them out, how are they going to be better? You know, you're looking for something more than a miracle, which is not possible. And that's just ugly. Like, how are you? So I just ate, but it felt like I ate nothing, which is ridiculous. Though I feel heat in my head, but it felt like I ate nothing, which that's what happens when you eat raw meat. Literally felt like I ate nothing. I actually feel more hungry than I did at the beginning. But I haven't eaten in 2 days anyway. Regardless, that's not the point of the video. Take what you want from that. And again, the funneling of information, you know, the lack of books or I guess you could say entertainment, or whatever, or connection to an outside world. Maybe it's family, relatives, or just friends. It's just a bunch of bullshit, and I definitely think this needs to be fixed and reconstructed. So what are your views on this? Let me know, and give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Subscribe to the channel. If you have any video requests, let me know. Like I said, check out some other videos. This is my only one. And I think it's pretty fucked up what they do to these people, especially with the fines and the time and just the pressure. And there's a lot of stress involved in all this. Going to your court case, people judging you that you've never met before, and a whole bunch of unfamiliar, you know. And just the way it's handled and the way it's settled, you shouldn't even need somebody representing for you either. You should represent yourself. I understand there's different degrees and different times and stuff, but you should let a man or a woman speak for themselves, a soul speak for themselves. Why would you ever let someone speak for you? I understand there's strategic, you know, precedent advice and evidence and ways to go about it, but at the end of the day, you know, it's the character and the person, how he speaks, and that's the way you tell and what is appropriate, and how he's like acclimated to the situation. How is he gonna, you know, someone could be completely lying, but if someone else is speaking for them, you know, then it's gonna be hard to tell the vibe from that person. Though it's just like a division and distraction and differences. So you need to get the real deal from the person, not whoever's representing them, which is bullshit. And of course, a lot of it can be bought over, the whole system, the judicial branch, whatever. And just overall, it's just a bunch of bullshit with the food they feed them, the stress. Then you're making them pay money. Even when they get out, they have consequences, whether you put it on the record and make it harder for them to achieve, or even get a job per se, or even do something, which that's not going to complement anything at all. And then you're not helping them be aware of anything in there, you know. You know, they should be shown to some extent compassion and love and freedom to a sense, not really to a degree, and not like be let free maybe, but you know, there should be certain circumstances among this. And that's what I want to say, but like I'll recap real quick. Food is just like, I mean, the food that maybe, I don't want to say entertainment, but again, the environment and the stressors, said that, stressors, the pollution, it's all going to affect them negatively, and you expect them to have a positive outcome or some beneficial thing that coming outside of this. It's not going to happen. And then, like, you know, the lack of love and compassion and maybe sympathy, empathy, whatever you want to call or classify it as, just in the whole environment. And again, lack of outdoors, definitely. Like, it all goes hand in hand with the environment, but the cell that you're in and just disconnected from the outside reality in that view and circumstance, it's just hideous. And then again, a lot of it's just to make money off of you, unfortunately, and for petty charges for a lot of things that aren't a big deal. But this just ties into the whole system outside of the judicial branch, and just the way the world is ran in modern society or civilized first world countries, whatever you want to call it. And you know, the whole economy and system and the way it is if you're involved in the world. But if you're off the grid, and probably won't even be watching this. But that's all I like to say. Thanks for tuning in.